What's up, design family, and welcome back to another episode of Fittdesign TV. As always, so glad to have you lovely folks back on the channel. On today's episode, we'll be looking at how to design to enhance the psychology of the wearer through sportswear design. So how do we create innovative design to create a mental and better state of mind so that when our customers are wearing our clothing, they look better, they feel better, and they're able to perform better. We're going to look at specific materials that we can use. We'll look at the overall psychology of design and how it can actually have an impact, a one-to-one impact on the wearer. We'll look at different cuts that we can use, colors, and other types of details. My goal with this episode is to give you the lesser known advantages that you as a brand, as an entrepreneur, as a designer can integrate into your upcoming collection to give your brand the edge in the market and to give you something truly worth selling to your customers. So if you've ever been interested in how to create innovative sportswear that is going to enhance your customers' mood and how they perform at the gym so that they can have an overall better satisfaction for your brand, well, watch this episode. This is what you've been waiting for. Welcome to Fittdesign TV. Are you interested in sports fashion, design, and manufacturing? Are you establishing your own brand? You're looking good. Anthony, how are we doing? Do you want to? Thank you. Well, you've come to the right place. Lights, camera, action. We've all been there. We've all seen the days where we're not performing optimally, where we feel like we are down, we feel like we're out, we feel like we just don't have the mental gumption necessary to get our asses and to get into the gym. This is where great quality design comes into play. When you have clothing that can enhance the way that you feel, that can make you take notice of all the hard work that you've been putting in the gym, that you can actually use in a way that gives you that mental kick, that's gold right there. There is an intrinsic link between how you feel and how you perform. It comes down to your state of mind. And my goal with this episode and with these tips is to allow you to enhance the mental clarity and enhance the mental attitude of the customers that wear your clothing through strategic one-to-ones. And we'll start off with the power of color. We understand that color across all platforms, across branding, across marketing, across industry, and especially across fashion has a tremendous impact in how your customers and how others view your clothing. A good example of this is going to be high performance clothing, such as the Nike Pro Combat line. We notice that line uses a lot of bold, saturated, vibrant colors. The reason for the usage of those colors is to enhance the dynamicism of the wearer. As a sports performance item, as a compression-based piece, the colors that are chosen enhance and create a link between the function of the piece and how it's perceived by others. If you look like an athlete, you'll feel like an athlete. The same is true for using more neutral tones, tones that are more calming, that are more soothing, that have a more earthy connotation to them. If you wish your wearer to feel a sense of zen, then zen colors are what you need to integrate into your product range. If you want your wearers to have a sense of eco-friendliness and sustainability where they can feel good about their clothing, then perhaps natural dyes as opposed to pigment dyes are going to be what you want. That's naturally going to create a more desaturated and toned down look to your color palette. Believe me when I say that the color palette you choose has a tremendous impact on how your brand resonates and how your customers feel about the clothing that you're wearing. So choose correctly for your specific target market. Fit is also a major component of how your customers feel about your clothing. If you look at fit and a good fit and a poor fit of the same quality of product, the same workmanship, the same quote-unquote design can have two very different outcomes. Let's look at the basic lifestyle scallop bottom tee. A good example of this is Alphalite's initial lifestyle range that we see all the way dating back to 2014, 2015. There's a reason why that collection took off and why it created such a buzz in the industry. For the first time, we saw more casual clothing being specifically tailored and fitted for the athletic physique. We lost loose sleeves, we lost long shoulders, we lost a boxy fit for the favor of a more tapered fit of shorter sleeves that showed more of your biceps, that showed more of the hard work that you had put in the gym. A tighter fitting chest, a shortened waist or a tapered waist, and a widened bottom. that allowed you to conceal any excess body fat that you're carrying. The goal with these garments was to create casual clothing that made you look your best. By highlighting the best parts of yourself and concealing the parts that were not so presentable, you not only looked good, but you also felt good. And that feel-good association you carried in with your association of the brand. The same again is true with how we carry fabrics. Fabrics and how they touch, how they feel on the skin, how they perform, have a huge impact on the psychology of a wearer. You can have the best design, you can have the best detailing, the best branding, but if your customer receives your product and it feels stiff, it feels rough, it doesn't have that lasting sensation of this is quality, your customer is ultimately going to feel a dissonance between what you're projecting as the goal of the brand and what they're getting. Use fabrics that can enhance touchability or hand feel. Prioritize smooth fabrics, plush fabrics, fabrics that avoid pilling over time. This is why I love typically to have blends of natural and synthetic fibers. You get the best of both worlds, as opposed to only sticking with cotton, which over time can lose its drape and typically tends to pill, especially if it's a softer cotton, or sticking with synthetic fibers, which are not as breathable and they tend to have a bad association with them because of how much bad quality synthetic fibers are on the market. By blending them together and maybe integrating some semi-synthetic fibers like viscose, modal, you can really enhance the quality of the garment without sacrificing durability long term. And again, by enhancing that hand feel, the way that your customers feel about your product and when they get into the product is going to be key. Also, think about the last time that you wore a t-shirt, and if that shirt is not breathable or it gets you all hot and bothered and you're just not able to feel comfortable in that item, even if it's the best quality garment in the world. By the very nature of you feeling itchy or irritable or sweating profusely in that garment, you again are not going to perform well. And if you don't perform well, you're going to attribute that lack of performance to the garment. This is how strong psychology and how you feel in the garment has to do with how your brand performs long run. Another major component of psychological benefits or motivation that we can enhance or infuse into a garment is through symbolism and brand identity. Why do we wear large logos? Why do we proudly carry the national flag or the team that we're into, right? Whether it's the LA Lakers or Manchester United. Why do we proudly wear these garments? Because deep down, they are a symbol of who we are, right? They're a way for us to say, yes, I identify with this thing. There is a pride factor in there. So when it comes to branding, when you wear a brand, you are signifying a little bit about yourself. And most people, they have this need to belong and to signify, to say who they are and to give a little bit of their personality. And clothing has the ability to do that. At the end of the day, the one thing that's going to be seen by pretty much anyone you come across is the clothes you wear. So the clothes you wear say a lot about who you are. And brands know this, and they take the opportunity to brand in a way that can enhance their customers' thinking or how they feel about the brand. I'll give you guys a specific example. If your brand is all about minimalism and it's all about being low-key and it's all about just being very under the radar, then a loud and graphic brand is not going to make sense. There's going to be a clear dissonance between the way that the branding is executed and the target customer or the customer avatar that the brand is trying to pursue. So the customer is going to feel that they don't want to go towards that brand. They're going to shy away from it to go to something else because of how it makes them feel. They feel that they're being louder than they want to. On the contrary, if you have a brand that symbolizes a status symbol, and it's something that when you wear, it shows who you are or what you've achieved. And if that's how you want to be portrayed, then you're going to be more drawn towards that brand. There's a lot to look forward to in the future. We've done a lot when it comes to psychology-driven sportswear design, but there's a lot more to do. Some really good examples are going to be smart textiles that allow us to gather a lot of information about the wearer, especially in the sports performance sector, being able to measure the skin temperature of an athlete or the perspiration level, or maybe the heart rate, or different muscle spasms in areas where the muscles are not operating optimally, will allow us to have the confidence in our clothing to perform at our peak. If we know that our clothing is gathering all this biometric data, if we know that our clothing is there alongside us, performing and giving us the means necessary to push our limits, we're more likely to get closer and closer to those limits. That's how strong clothing has an impact on how we perform, especially in sportswear where even a micro millisecond has the ability to be the difference between gold and silver. And this is why we will continue to see massive innovation and massive investment into these sectors, especially with AI. We're now going to be able to hyper curate the clothing that we create for our customer avatars. Not only are we going to be able to understand our customer avatars, but we're going to also be able to generate and to shift through thousands and thousands of gigabytes of data in order to make educated pinpoint decisions on what our customers are wanting, simply by aggregating data and creating educated decisions based off of that and following those educated decisions. Well guys, that is it. That is a wrap on this episode. I cannot express to you how important it is to use psychology to your advantage when designing sportswear. The way that you make your customer feel is going to be directly correlated to how successful your brand is. The best brands know their customers well. They know what the pain points of their customers are, and they know how to design and how to use fit, function, aesthetics, trims, detailing, branding, the full package to curate the overall psychological experience that their customers are going to have. If you guys are curious about how you and your unique brand can actually integrate some of these design features that I mentioned for your specific customer avatar, well, I can offer one-on-one consultation calls. I do so every single week with limited slots. Check the link in the description. There's a link to book a one-on-one call with me, and those slots are limited. I'd be more than happy to take that call with you. So check the link in the description. Guys, from the very bottom of my heart, thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Fit Design TV. Until next week's episode, stay awesome.